Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle, and I am one of the anaesthetic resident medical officers here in Australia, Brisbane. This is an audit that was completed in 2020 with the help of my consultant, Harriet, who is one of the anaesthetists at Redland Hospital. Now, to begin with some quick background information, you may all be aware that effective intrapartum analgesia requires regular monitoring of the adequacy and presence of any adverse effects of the actual drug that is given to the patient. We aim to practice anaesthesia according to the ANZCA guidelines, all in the hope to ensure care is delivered safely. Now, many of the parturient women at Redland Hospital do opt to have an epidural in labour, and monitoring of their epidural use is documented electronically on our system. You can see the current epidural monitoring guidelines on the screen here, and there are essentially 3 sections to monitoring that are very important. These sections include the monitoring of general observations, observation of sensory block height and motor bromage scores, and finally the checking of equipment. A similar audit was completed in 2019, and the results of this audit cycle were compared to the previous findings. Overall, a total of 50 random patients who had an epidural placed between April and June of 2020 were included in this audit. Now you can see from our findings that the monitoring of epidurals is not meeting the expected standard we had hoped to achieve. Currently, the monitoring of vital signs is low, and observation of pain scores and side effects are even lower. Many barriers to safe monitoring and documentation were identified, one of the key barriers being that the monitoring guidelines are too extensive and time-consuming. A strategy that has been raised to target this issue may be the streamlining of these guidelines, narrowing the guidelines to ensure the most vital parameters are assessed for each patient. Other interventions will have to include more thorough education of our healthcare staff and potentially closer collaboration between the anaesthetists and working midwives. As a last resort, withdrawal of the epidural service at Redland Hospital will have to be considered if there are no improvements. However, this will be a radical change with great implication, as Redland Hospital is home to a large obstetric service. Fortunately, however, since completion of this audit, interventions have come into place with great feedback, and a future audit cycle will need to be completed in order to monitor positive changes. Thank you all kindly for your attention.